Hey guys, it's Katie at scrappinkaty.ctmh.com, and it is Tuesday, June 16th, 2020, and Close to My Heart just had a live event on their corporate Facebook page where they put together this Aurora card making kit. Now, I had several customers who did not purchase the kit, so I wanted to show you how you can use the cutting diagrams and your stash to basically mimic these card designs. So for this kit, you have 4 different designs and you are supposed to make 4 of each card. So you've got a couple of pieces of background and texture paper and then some cardstock. Now I am going to be using some stash left over from my Blue Skies paper and sticker sheet. So I'm going to kind of pay attention to the cutting diagram, but I'm going to do my own thing. So I've pulled out all my scraps. Now I do only want to pull the zip strips because some of the cards use them. And then I only want to pull the larger pieces of this pattern paper for now. So I'm just going to sort through all those larger pieces and pile them up. And then I am going to start cutting off the remainder of the zip strips. Now, I'm doing this for a couple of reasons. One is I just kind of want to have all the zip strips out in front of me so I can decide which ones to use. And then there is that cute zip strip that has the sentiments on it, and I probably am going to use those on one of the cards. So I've cut all the zip strips off, and now I'm going to start referring to the cutting diagram and start cutting my pieces. Now I will leave a link down to the Google Doc below where you can go grab this cutting diagram. And as you can see, I am just referring back to the diagram as well as the photos of the cards, because I do have a piece or two of the pattern paper that definitely has a right or a wrong direction. So I want to make sure that I know where those pieces are going on those cards. So for the card piles, I am just, as I cut them, the cutting diagram shows me which card it goes with. So I am just cutting it and then flipping it over and using my pencil to pencil in the card design and then putting those in the various piles. If you are a follower on YouTube and you have been for a while, then you know that I usually put the numbers on there, but I may just stack them all in one pile and then sort later. I find that with these cards, it's really easy to just go ahead and pile them in the piles. So I have also decided to pull out some of the wonderful cardstock that came with the Blue Skies line. It has this wonderful UV coating on it that's also in a pattern, and it just kind of adds a gloss to the cardstock, and I just love how it looks. So I'm going to continue to cut these and go ahead and put them in the piles. Now I would like to remind you that Close to My Heart is having every Tuesday, they're having these live events. So if you follow Close to My Heart on Facebook, you want to go grab the kits that they will be covering. And then I will leave a link down below to that schedule as well. And again, it's every Tuesday. And then I am just going to finish off. This is the last cut. And then I'm going to pull out my value pack of card bases. I love this value pack because you get 15 card bases and 50 card bases and envelopes, and it just makes it really easy to make cards. So now we're going to start assembling. This is card 1, and so pretty much everything just gets glued down to the card base. I am just using tape adhesive, and then on these tiny pieces I'm using some tear tape, and it just seems a lot easier than liquid glue. So I have pulled out a few stamp sets. I've got A Million Little Things because of the paint splatter, and then I've got the 2 stamp sets that came with Blue Skies. So the majority of my focal pieces, whereas with the Aurora card making kit, they were the thin cuts and stamp set, I am trying to use up the rest of the stickers from my Blue Skies paper packet. So I am going to just use this hot air balloon, and you saw where I stamped some of that paint splatter, and then adhere this yippee at the bottom, and then that card is pretty much done. So for the second card, I am going to just start matting down the bigger pieces and then decide which of these zip strips I want to go on the bottom of this card. Can't make up my mind, so I'll pull out my sticker sheet. I think I know which sticker I want to use. So I'm going to go ahead and start adhering everything down. Now, this graph paper that is on top of this sapphire cardstock, I love graph paper, but it's going to make it really easy to put these little bitty tiny 1/4 inch strips of pattern paper down onto my card base. And that way I don't have to pull out my T-ruler and I don't have to pull out my Versamat. So I'm just lining these tiny little strips up on that graph paper. I'm using tear tape, and then if I didn't tear enough off, I'm just using my liquid adhesive at the very end. You definitely want to make sure that they are really secure. Nothing worse than sending a card to someone and it fall apart when they get it. So for this zip strip, I just referred back to my cutting diagram and cut it to size and adhering it down at the bottom. So for this card, I am going to use the sentiment on the sticker sheet that says "Life is sweet." And then I'm going to pull the ice cream cone, and I'm going to go ahead and stamp some of that splatter and then pull the strawberry. And I'm going to take the stickiness off with the anti-static pouch and use some 3D foam tape. Now there is a little pink heart that I'm also going to add to this card just to kind of have the love, you know, life is sweet, and then I love me some ice cream. So for this third pattern, these little strips of paper are all going to be dovetailed. So how I do my dovetail is I cut up the center and then cut from the bottom corners to that center. If you have a better way of doing this, I would love to hear it, and I would love to try it as well. So these just get adhered directly to the card base. Now these actually go from edge to edge. So I've done that, and then I am going to stamp blue skies with my sapphire ink and then fussy cut out, making sure I leave a pretty tight white border around the sentiment. So I've done that off camera, and then on the B, I am going to show you how I like to cut out the centers of letters. So I just stick my micro tip scissors down the center, and then I am able to cut to the edges and then cut around. You want to be really careful doing this because these micro tip scissors are super sharp. So I'm going to finish this B up and then glue everything down. And then for the most part, this pattern 3 is done. So for this last card, I'm going to adhere this hot air balloon paper down to the center. And then I'm going to go ahead and dovetail this sapphire cardstock and then pull out one of the zip strips and dovetail it as well. Now these two get adhered down and flush with that left side of that lagoon pattern paper. And then I'm going to use the kite for this card. I'm going to take the sticky off with my anti-static pouch and then go ahead and use some 3D foam tape to adhere and pop that up. Now for the sentiment, I do use one of the zip strips, and you can see the finished cards here. And don't forget to grab this cutting diagram down below. Thank you so much for stopping by and watching. I hope this inspired you to take this Aurora card making cutting diagram and use your stash to make some cards of your own.